Let's move on to the next topic, which is the average age of buy-to-let landlord decreasing year on year. I'll read this. A report by Paragon Bank revealed that the average age of landlord using a buy-to-let mortgage to purchase a property has been steadily decreasing each year, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah.
Glad.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. The Labour government is coming, but they're not being very clear as to the amount of funding that they're willing to allocate to social housing. Now, that's one of the reasons the young buy-to-let entrepreneurs are coming in thinking, okay, if the government, and we're not talking about this government, we're also talking about the last government that was in power, if they're not being clear as to how much they're going to be allocating to social housing, or if any, then the young entrepreneurs are coming in thinking, okay, fine, we will bridge that gap within the market. So they've decided, okay, and that's one of the reasons. The other reason is that bricks and mortar, it's a brilliant pension fund. Now, obviously, prices are going up, and it always, inflation always erodes into what one's earning. So they think, hold on, if I obviously have a property and let the tenants pay for it over the next 20 years, 25 years, then it would have been paid off. Now I've got 1 or 2 or 3 property being paid off, and that's my pension pot. Inflation and property market now, despite what people think, they think, oh, if inflation comes in, interest rate goes up and house prices goes down. Yes, it does to a very, very minimal amount, but inflation is very good for properties. As inflation goes up, so does the price of everything, including property. So the young people are banking on the property that they're buying, buy to let. The tenants will pay for it, and in years to come, it's a pension pot for them, rather than having to rely on state pension or put it into a pension pot that may or may not give them what they're looking for when they become a pensioner.
See, I'm not seeing the young investors though. I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah.
Let's say for example they go for a standard house. They want to move into a house, a family home. We've discussed it before. You need with the schemes you can get 5% deposit, 10% deposit. You can buy a house with that. Yeah. With a buy to let, they're asking for usually 20% or 25%.
Correct, yeah.
Young people just haven't got that anymore.
When they say young, when Paragon said, look, the age is decreasing, they're talking about a very small amount of age decreasing. They're not talking about youngsters like in their 20s and 30s coming in. No. And the average age was 47 and a half. 47 years old. Forget the half. It was about 47 years old. It is now 42 years old. So what they're saying is that the average age now is 42-ish, and it used to be 47-ish. That's what they're saying, that it's decreased in age. And when you look around, yes, the 25%, when you're looking at a flat, which, we up north, don't forget, we live in the south. South is very, very expensive. But when you're looking at up north, and a flat is, 60,000-70,000 pounds for one bed flat. 25% of that is 12 grand. So it's not a lot of money to put down to buy a buy to let. You know what I'm saying? So on that basis, if down here you think, well, how, in London, you're talking about £1 million flat, where they're going to get 250,000. No, that doesn't work, because a 42-year-old don't have £250,000 in spare cash. But you go up to, Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle, you go up there and all of a sudden for 10, 12, 13,000 pounds, 15,000 pounds, you can pick up a buy to let and rent it out. Now, it doesn't mean that you've got to be living up there. You can be living down south. You can be living down here. You can be working down here. And then,
are they being educated enough? Because there's a lot of bad news about property in the news, right? They're always talking about, especially when it comes to investment, all of the rights, the regulations that they're putting in. It's scaring landlords off from being a landlord and looking at other ventures in order to make money and the percentage back rather than property. How can we get people back in to go, look, that's not the case. You can still do that.
Look, you can only scare older generation who've been in the buy-to-let for years and years and years. They've had it the way it's been, and they've had it good. Now all these regulation coming in, and they think, whoa, no, I need to get out of this. Yet young people are coming in thinking, well, this is the way it is. They don't know any better. They don't know what it used to be. They know this is the way it is, and they've got to have, if they buy a property, they've got to maintain it. They've got to make sure that it's in a very good condition. They've got to do maintenance on it. They know different. So for that reason, they're coming in, and obviously what we're looking at is south of England, a little bit different because it's more expensive. You start driving up north, and you start looking up north, and it's cheaper. And people, when, for instance, a young 42-year-old who lives in London, or a 45-year-old lives in London and earns good money, and he's got, I don't know, 15 grand spare, rather than putting it in the bank, he says, I'll tell you what, I'll do a buy-to-let up in, I don't know, Liverpool, and I'll rent it out and I'll give it to an agent to look after it for me. They are hands off in every way. So that way they think, well, I'll put 15 grand in that property. In 20 years' time, 15 years' time, 25 years' time, the value of the property could be around 80, 90,000 pound, 100,000 pound, and the mortgage has been paid off. And that's my pension plots. I've got 2 or 3 of them. It's better than.
Do you know the average age for someone that's looking to buy their family home?
At the moment,
I
believe it's in their 30s.
Okay, so if that's in their 30s, looking to buy their family home, and then we say that the investors are in the 42s, in the early 40s. Okay, so that gives, let's say, 10 years. If people are saving up, and they buy their own family home at the age of 30, when did you buy your family home?
25.
Okay, so that was 25. So now it's in the 30s. Okay, so let's say, for example, they buy their family home 30, 35 years old, and they put a lot of money into it, 20% deposit down. They got a mortgage. Can they save enough within the next, let's say 10 years in order to go, you know what, now we want to buy more for investment purposes? Look, is the time frame long enough for them to want to do? And then if it gets to that certain point, let's say they head into the mid 40s, are they worrying about investment properties then?
Yeah, you see, if you've got 2 incomes, and both incomes are in kind of 40s and 50s, £50,000, and you've got £100,000, and your outgoing is £80,000 a year, for instance, you've got £20,000 to put aside every year. Now that means you can buy one property up north. That's if not everyone is an investor. Yeah. See, you get one investor for every 100 or 200 home buyers. So this is where the whole idea gets skewed up, thinking, well, hold on, people can't afford to buy their own home. How they're doing a buy-to-let? Now, the percentage of landlords are low, but they're there. They're still there. Obviously, through our own business here, we see very little investors walking in through the door and says, I want to buy property to rent out, because it doesn't work in the south because of the taxation, because of...
It's usually the dad has been an investor for a long time, and then they're getting their sons and children into it, and daughters into it.
Exactly. So but you take that and you go up north, and you can buy yourself a buy-to-let. No problem.
Yeah, no emotion attachment, nothing involved.
Nothing. Exactly that. So it can work.
Obviously, in the face of tighter profit margins, stricter lending terms, interest rates, harsher legislation, the appeal of bricks and mortar won't go anywhere for the time being.
Exactly. Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, all of that put into a pot, a young person or a landlord says, you know what, somebody else will take care of the headache. And in years' time, just like, I've been involved in the property market almost coming up to 30 years, 28, 29 years. And I've always looked after other people's properties, not me personally, but our company has. And after 10 years, 12 years, people think, it's about time I cash in. And our company is still looking after properties that we've had for 20 odd years, because they're still renting it out. And so, it is a pension pot for somebody, and it's bricks and mortar at the end of the day. It's not going, it's better than a stock market to some people. It's better than digital age that we're in. They think, well, bricks and mortar, everybody needs a home, and I will supply that home. Yeah.
That's all for this episode. As always, thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment below. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe to see more videos from us in the future. Join us next time where we'll be discussing the biggest developments in the property investment sector and how they may affect you.